Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see here on our channel, our Instagram, or our website. Reach out to me directly, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Today we are discussing one of my favorite watches of all time. Teased in 2010, finally released in 2014, and in the variant you see here, launched in 2015, this is the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Compressor Extreme Lab 2. This watch is a Swiss Army knife. It does it all. Your full-service sports watch, chronograph, GMT, power reserve, quick-release lug, shock-resistant, water-resistant, all of that, and remarkably good for small wrists. All of which is to say, we could throw it on my wrist right now and give you an illustration. Though the watch is 46.8 millimeters in diameter in grade 5 titanium and ceramic, you can see it sits easily on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. That's largely because the lug-to-lug spacing of the watch is 53.5 millimeters, and in spite of all the apparatus inside, it's actually a fairly thin 15.7 millimeters thick. So this watch wears well. I can recommend it for a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference. Take a quick look at the watch in profile, a look at the watch from end to end, and of course a soldier shot. This is a timepiece that's big but light. Ceramic is light, titanium is light, and if we take a look at the hardware and the software, you can see that this watch is impressively spec'd. Now I should mention right out of the gate there are two straps. One is a hybrid of rubber and alligator leather, and the other is this full rubber strap that you see right here. So this is more appropriate if you do want to take the watch in the water. Now, as you can see, there are big pockets on the underside to avoid trapping wrist heat, allowing the wrist to breathe. You can also see that there's a little bit of an architecture along the side with a relieved profile and a taper that nicely matches the curvature of the case. It's a highly integrated look for a non-integrated strap or bracelet. Now here we have possibly the most deluxe pin buckle in history. It has a long and short fore and aft adjustability. It also quick releases from the strap, so you can rapidly remove it without any tools. It features a double ardillon or double pin, and this component by itself costs 4 figures in Swiss francs, so it might be the most over-engineered pin buckle of all time. Now, if you take a quick look at the underside of the watch, you can see that this is number 110 of a limited edition of 300 pieces, and the watch does include a quick release system. So you have that other strap, you have this strap right here, you simply open the shutter and the strap pops right out. Now what you do if you want to put the strap back in is you compress it, you stick it back in, you release, and that's that. You'll also appreciate that the lugs are ratcheting and articulated. Have a listen. That ensures you're going to get a perfect fit. It's also way tech and very cool. Throw it on the wrist one more time and you can see just how well it works. Taking a quick look at the timepiece in profile, you can see the grade 5 titanium case is more scratch resistant than 316 steel, but it's also lighter and hypoallergenic. There is a hacking lever on the side because the crown doesn't pull in or push out. It's a multifunction crown, so hacking is achieved with a lever on the side that stops the movement for precise time setting. The timepiece, of course, features a ceramic bezel, which is executed in satination as well as polish, particularly impressive. It acts as a scratch-resistant heat shield for the rest of the watch. There is a ceramic shoulder to that multifunction crown, and you will note that there's a lot going on the crown side. You have 2 shear guards to protect the pushers themselves. These are not the pushers. You can see the pushers underneath. This is impact protection. Now, the crown is a multifunction unit. You can see, as with a Richard Mille, there is a multifunction indicator. So you have neutral, where you wind the watch. You have GMT, which allows you to set the second and primary time zones independently. And then, of course, you have the setting mode that allows you to move everything in sync. But note that this does not activate hacking seconds. If you want to do that, the hacking lever. Now, the timepiece is impressive because not only do you have a true 12 and 24-hour GMT distinction, and take note there is a 24-hour AM/PM indicator for the GMT down at 6 o'clock, but it also has a 24-hour register for the chronograph hours, and that is exceptionally rare. You'll note there are small seconds within the 24-hour register for the hours. There's also a jumping digital 60-minute display for the chronograph minutes up at 12 o'clock. So most minute displays on chronographs only go up to 30. This one goes up to 60, and it's super simple to read. Now, I mentioned there is a function selector for the crown. It doesn't pull in, it doesn't push out. There's also a second column wheel You can't quite see it here, but there is a second column wheel, one for the chronograph, one for the multifunction crown. I should mention that this timepiece features a fully skeletonized ruthenium-coated dial, and being an open dial, it allows you to see the underlying mechanism of the jumping minutes, as well as the rest of the caliber itself. It is loomed. You can see there are applique indices, or I should say numerals in this case, made of white gold. The hands at center are white gold. Note that they are both satinated on their tops and polished on their flanks, and the GMT system is very clean. You can hide that stub hour hand if you don't need a second time zone. I should also mention there's a power reserve indicator. It rises up and over the top of the watch, and as I wind, you can see I'm in neutral, but as I wind, you can see that the blue arc is being supplanted by a white arc as I wind the watch up to its maximum rated power reserve of 65 hours. That is a arcing power reserve scale that is also color changing up at the top of the watch, and the watch features two mainspring barrels to achieve that 65-hour reserve despite the many power intensive complications. The two barrels also prevent the drop off of amplitude on the balance after 24 and 48 hours. Now turn the watch over and it is impressive. You can see all of its many virtues on little iconography flanking the movement. This is 569-piece, 70-joule JLC manufacture caliber 780, and it is truly impressive. The first thing you'll note is the movement has incredible depth. All rhodium plated, or I should say ruthenium plated, for that nickel anthracite coating. It features a combination of polished bevels and satin across its top, so no Cote de Genève here. They wouldn't feel right on a timepiece this techno-industrial. You can see the column wheel for the chronograph. The rotor, I should mention, features unidirectional winding for efficiency, as well as ceramic rotor bearings. So low resistance, low maintenance requirement, and high efficiency. When you turn the watch over, you will note when the chronograph activates, it doesn't jump, there is no stagger. It uses a vertical clutch system, so if you wish to leave chronograph seconds running full time, you can have your hours, minutes, and seconds at center. Because of the vertical clutch, there's neither jump nor additional wear and tear if you leave the chronograph running. So there's no jump or stagger to the seconds hand, and there's no additional wear and tear if you want to run it full time. The movement is bewilderingly complex, but one of the refinements I want to shout out is the combination of a full balance bridge and a free sprung index for shock resistance. Those two features make this watch extremely shock resistant. The movement itself is also cushioned inside the case against shock, and all of this is water resistant to 100 meters, so this is absolutely a swimmable timepiece. The watch, of course, goes through the master 1000 hours control, which means it is tested for shock resistance, winding efficiency, power reserve, water resistance, chronometric performance, 6-position chronometric performance, by the way, not 5. So the timepiece has been through a 1000-hour battery that goes far above and beyond the bare movement test that is the Swiss COSC. This timepiece is loaded with tech, and it's the best Richard Mille never made. Email tmosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of the ultimate sports complication. And we're back with the Master Compressor Extreme Lab 2 by Night. As you can see, the power reserve, lush and loomed.